We call the City of Yamhill City Council meeting to order Wednesday, April 9th, 2025 at 6:32 p.m. We have a roll call, please.
Featherston here.
Askey here.
Morgan here.
Kind here.
Aaron here.
And we'll have a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that brings us to public comment. Yamhill encourages all citizens to comment on any city business. This is not a dialogue platform forum. Comment should be limited to 3 minutes. If you required special accommodation, you should have already contacted our city recorder to get yourself on the agenda for tonight. Starting out with public comment, I have Robert Davis.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor and council people. I'll just be brief. I'm wearing two hats today, but I just finished attending a meeting in which I was very concerned about three things: wineries, breweries, and other establishments that use one huge amount of water, and whether or not they're going to be allowed in our central business district. That to me is almost absurd. Given the fact that if Fruit Hill was working at the time that we ran short on water a couple of years ago, we would have been really up the creek with the amount of water that we were limited to here in the city. So keeping that in mind and knowing that things haven't gotten much better, we haven't got our second source of water. I want this council to understand that having a winery or a brewery or some establishment that uses that much water would be detrimental to our city. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Jay, I know that you're speaking later. Did you want to have a public comment as well?
I just conferred with my partner here and I've got a.
Oh.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, good evening, council. Mayor and council members, Jay Disbro, 515 East Main Street. Here to offer a quick plug for the Yamhill Community Library, a new library in town. It's open on Saturdays, 10 to 2, and on Wednesdays, 10 to 2:30. We have something like 3,000 books in the library and probably another 15,000 in storage. And you're invited to come out and visit, become a patron. And if you can't get there during those hours, give us a call or give me a call and we'll set up a time that you can come out and visit. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Did you say where it was?
That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
185 South Laurel Street. It's in the education building of the Yamhill United Methodist Church.
1 block from City Hall.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's beautiful.
Pam Kirsch did not want to speak. Rocky Lossley.
Recently, maybe close to a week or 10 days back, there was a CAC development meeting. And I attempted to, well, first of all, I saw the notice at the post office. And then I showed up here at City Hall at least 5 minutes early. And I waited somewhere between 10 and maybe 15 minutes. I wasn't smart enough to leave quicker than that. But I found out that the meeting was only Zoom. But it didn't say that on the notice in the post office. But I would strongly encourage council that meetings of that type need to be in person. There is such a difference between a strictly Zoom meeting and a meeting in person. And I think your public, your constituents deserve that. I request it, and I hope you will consider it.
Thank you, Rocky. JR.
I'm here on behalf of YCTC and the baseball program. I'm trying to see if we can get some kind of funding or help to work on the new baseball fields sitting down by the city water treatment plant. I don't know what you guys have as far as the coffers go, but they've been there for a long time and we've never done anything with them. And we all know we're lacking facility space for baseball, pretty much all of our sports, but it'd be a good spot to get started and get opened up. Anybody's got any questions about baseball?
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, I had a conversation with JR the other day about this, and there's two backstops that already exist down at Jane Heinrich. And, he volunteers, he coaches the kids, and there's just not enough places for them to practice and to play. We have space already designated for that. I talked to Jason just a little bit to get him into sort of basic working shape, not ideal, would be fairly, I think, quick and easy to do. Some work's gone into it. They said the biggest thing that right now we're looking at is a drainage issue that's down there. But I don't know how council feels about it, but maybe putting a bit of a committee together to take a look at that maybe could coordinate with the Parks Master Plan as well. Go ahead, Joe.
Can I make a suggestion of perhaps participating in the upcoming Park CAC would be a good place to have that conversation, because it's going to be a
I
discussion
think that would be
about
an ideal place.
So maybe I can get contact information and invite you to participate in that.
I'd love to.
Okay.
And I'll provide that to her if that's all right with you.
Sounds great.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
awesome. Thank you. Sean, you said you did not want to speak?
No.
Okay. And Amy is going to be on the agenda for later. So we have Chuck Mitchell with a question mark. Do you have something, Chuck?
I'll go ahead,
Yeah, go ahead, man.
pipe up real quick. Chuck Mitchell, from 62nd Street. I've been in here a few times over the last couple of years about development and residential property and land, and currently the subdivision over here is about 2/3 or the way through of building. It's only got a few more left, and then after that, city's pretty much out of buildable lands within the urban growth boundary, other than a little part over here off of Olive Street. So I don't know what the city's current plan is as far as urban growth boundary expansion. We were kind of waiting on the governor's little signature to allow communities to expand, but that fizzled out when it didn't go anywhere. So I don't know where the city's at as far as expanding urban growth boundaries, but we got a few locations around town, but the city is not in compliance with goal 10 based on the state's website. So I just want to bring that up. I know we need water infrastructure. You guys are doing a bang up job out there on the water and sewer, by the way. So those are just some things for future, because there's no more growth in Yam Hill, none, zero. So unless the city council decides to, or city planning decides to, any available lot can be multifamily developed. I mean, like an 8,000 square foot lot, you can put 2 or 3 units on it. That would be a good thing if the city approves that. So that's all I have to say.
Great. Thank you, Chuck. Do we have anybody online? Anybody that would like to comment?
If anyone online would like to make a comment, you can please raise your hand and unmute yourself. There are no hands raised.
Okay. Was there anybody else that was not called on that would like to make a comment at this time? That was everybody. Did we have anybody we were working on answering questions from meetings gone by? Do we have some answers from?
The only question we had last month was from Mr. Davis about providing the budget calendar sooner, or not the calendar, excuse me, the document, or moving our date back,
Right.
which we were.
We cleared up the other day, I think, Bob, to your satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
And then
I
so,
want to make known, I'm also going to be representing the Economic Development Committee. I have the minutes.
wonderful. We'll have that coming up very soon. So agenda updates or additions. City
I
administrator.
actually do have one addition to let's see, unfinished business. I'll be giving an update on the FEMA grant.
Fantastic. And you'll do that during your report?
Correct.
Okay.
The resolution was updated. The resolution was updated as well from the packet.
I actually have, yeah, there is, that is, thank you. There, the personnel manual, I sent you both, or sent you all a resolution to approve the update to the personnel manual. However, I sent you 2 copies, and I want to discuss both of them tonight. So I do have copies. When we get to that, I'll hand that out. There's 2 versions of it. I did send them both to you, but if anybody needs a copy tonight, I'll make sure you have it. So I don't know. Anyway, so that's, it's on the agenda. It's just you'll have 2 versions of a resolution to consider.
Okay. That moves us to the consent agenda. Financial statement and the minutes for 3/12/25 council meeting. Anybody have any questions or concerns regarding those? Well, get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
You can take a vote.
Featherston, I.
SKI.
Organize.
And I.
Karen, I.
Fantastic. Moving right along. So next up is ordinances. It's to consider 0544 exterior light ordinance be a second reading. I talked with staff about this as it's a continuing resolution. And so we did not close it from last time. And I think that it would be appropriate for council to just go into discussion in regards to that, if anybody has any concerns. If we're unable to decide what we wanted to do with that, I think as a group, that we could continue that again to the next meeting if need be. So we would open that up for council discussion.
We're starting with me.
Sure.
I guess one of my concerns at the beginning, why I voted no last month, because if I would have voted yes and then we all voted yes, then it would have immediately passed. And I don't know that all of the business owners have been notified or paying attention to this to even know that within 2 years, they have to make changes to their lights or could possibly have to, right? Because we're trying to encourage more businesses into Yamhill. And all of a sudden, now there's some new rules with lighting and things. And if you spend $10,000 on exterior lighting and motion lights, and then all of a sudden you're being told, I have to make changes to those, that might be a financial hardship for them. So I wanted to make sure that those people had time to look at it. Then I had a death in the family, so I was going to go try to talk to people, and I ended up having not enough time, and I didn't personally go talk to them, but they've had another month to look at it. They have 2 years to make any modifications. And in just driving around, I don't think any of them are out of compliance where their lights are blinding. Which ones do you think is out?
Yeah, the gas station up here, the Shell, that's definitely out of compliance because their lights are on 24/7. They don't go out.
They don't turn them out?
Uh-uh.
They used, when I lived around the corner, they would turn them out at night.
Yeah, no, they don't turn them out, and there's a house. Yeah, across the street, actually, there's the little red house, and then across Pike. So they're right on the corner of Pike 47. It reflects right into their house also at night.
Are they open 24/7?
No,
No, they used to turn them off at night, so.
yeah, no, they don't turn them off. And then my understanding is the gas station has left their lights on all night too. I don't know, I mean, I don't go out after 10 o'clock usually to see that, but I've heard from a couple different people that they've been on. So, I mean, in my opinion, I think this is a good thing because I've went to all of the meetings with this. My only concern is the time frame that these people have to conform because it's 2 full years. I mean, that's a long time. And if I'm not mistaken, the gas station was in the process of doing their lighting when this was all addressed. Did anybody else go to all of the, I mean, you were there, Shelley.
Yeah, so I don't know that they the gas station is complying to this because they were doing it prior
Okay.
to this being confirmed.
But this one, maybe not.
But like I say, the 2-year time frame to me is just, that's a lot. That's a long time. Anyway, other than that, that's it.
Someone has any comment?
We did discuss the
The time frame.
timeframe.
Yeah.
I think at one point it was a lot shorter, so we extended it 2 years. I think originally it was 6 months, if I recall.
That's right.
And yeah, as far as businesses out of compliance, I suspect the neon or the fluorescent lighting in the front of T&E might be an issue also. They have fluorescent bar lights, they're awning. So
Do they
they're,
really?
it might be, yeah. They're not shielded at all. So, there are mitigations without changing out the fixtures, but yeah, that's something to consider. But the thinking with the 2 years was that that gives people enough time to work and move their budgets, including the city, because I know the city, we have a couple of lights in the park, I think. Was it the park? I think it was the park that are not shielded also.
I think so.
Well. This is not a time for public comment, however. Mr. Mitchell had his hand up and I know you weren't at the
Yeah.
public hearing. Would you like just a brief minute?
Brief.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Exterior lighting on commercial buildings sometimes is required for sidewalks for state and local building codes. And also to eliminate for security cameras as well. So just something to think about moving forward.
Go ahead.
Dr. Shelley.
So just to address your concern, so that was a topic of conversation. So there is an exception for security lighting. And then the sidewalk lighting, as far as making sure that the condition is that the light doesn't extend beyond your property. So if it can illuminate the sidewalk. So the little sconces on the gas station, they mostly just light the sidewalk. And so those on the side of the building probably, because they are contained, I think that the canopy is the one that people are concerned with the most at the gas station. So, but security lighting was one of those things. I think we did make it so that it needed to be motion censored, I think. So that if you have security lighting, by the bank, I think there's some lights that are in between a house. They would need to have those on a motion sensor, so if somebody walked by there, went between the house and the bank, the light would.
And they are.
They are.
They're on Azalea, on the Azalea side, they are. They're motions. Yeah.
Because we've allowed it, we're gonna continue to allow it, but we don't typically.
We're not supposed
Please go ahead.
Well, Forest Grove, there's some of their gas stations, they turn off their overhead lights from the big canopy, you know, why we should have to be different than them, just to let the new person on the block, whom I don't like, have their lights on,
Okay.
you know, I don't know, I think.
So all of these things have been discussed in depth with the planning commission and they've gone through this and just for so everybody knows. This has gone from planning to council, I think 3 times now at this point. Each time we send it back with concerns that the planning commission has done, quite honestly, a fantastic job of addressing. And then sending back to us. We did just find out today that there is very potentially with our code update through the a grant that we received that is updating our codes, that our lighting ordinance may be need to be adjusted based on their findings. With that meeting, when is that meeting, when they're going to,
The
for the
hearing?
public hearing?
The May 19th at the planning commission is a public hearing.
So I almost wonder if it would serve us best to continue until after that has been updated. It's a public hearing, more feedback, whatever they're going to adjust then, the public would have an opportunity to make comment on. And then planning commission could maybe make a recommendation at the end of that meeting to have council do their second reading at that point with any changes that needed to be made. Because right now we may be arguing moot points.
One of my questions for them on that meeting will be, what are some of the things that need to change for lighting, since it's obviously something right on our calendar at the moment.
I think we can ask that beforehand.
Yeah. That's true.
So
Is it still considered second reading after going through all of it?
well, so because we've continued this once, we can continue it again to another meeting without the requirement of reposting it, I believe. However, if we made changes, I don't know what that would do.
The changes are the part that I'm not sure about, depending on how much of changes there were, but you could.
And as we won't know what those changes are, or if there are any. Or we would also have an opportunity, as long as we weren't contrary to state law, we could pass it as it is. After the recommended changes were made. Anybody have thoughts?
If that's gonna have to be changed later on down the road because of the meeting today. then
Because I certainly don't want to send it back to planning
Right.
commission at this point to have them work on
Exactly.
it before, you know,
exactly.
before it gets changed again. I think it would just be in everybody's best interest, saving your time to make a motion to continue this to the next council meeting. Was that
Is
clear?
that gonna be far enough out?
No,
No, it'd have to be June.
Jim?
Yeah,
So Jim? Yeah,
So is it to table it? Is it to,
we're just gonna continue this until then,
so it's just continue?
You need to announce the date of the meeting.
which means notice.
which, and the date would be when? June 11th.
That is also the hearing for the grant. As well.
Okay.
There.
Well, hopefully we can do it quickly.
For the speed. The two grants.
Yeah. So if there's no other questions, we get a motion?
Motion would continue this on June 9th.
June 11th.
June 11th. Okay.
I second the motion.
Roll, vote please.
Featherston, I.
SCI.
Morgan, aye.
And I.
Karen, I.
So we're moving along to committee reports, planning commission.
I'm Browninger, 665 East Erica, Chair of the Planning Commission. We did meet last month. We were going to discuss whether to meet next week based on the previous meeting, so we still have to discuss that a little bit. So unless there's a topic, I guess I'm open to hearing some of the topics that you guys are interested in. And I also came to help answer questions about the lighting ordinance, so. So anyway, if you have any comments or whatever that you'd like to contribute to the planning commission, like topics that you'd like us to cover, please let us know.
I think that we were talking with city administrator about scheduling actually a joint work session with planning.
Another one.
That would be away from the grant aspect and
Okay.
just more of what your vision, what our vision, and to try to get all onto the same page so we can actually cross things off lists as opposed to just a lot of discussion.
And I think we talked about doing that with EDC as well, right? Making
I
it
believe that was right.
All together. So,
Obviously, that's not gonna happen before Monday.
no, and probably May at this point, just because April's pretty full of meetings.
Budget meetings, grant things. We have a lot on the table right now. So if that's okay with you folks.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll do a joint session in May.
Probably a joint session in May, so we probably wouldn't, and it's the public hearing, so I don't know if we would want to do a different date or that same night.
We could have
It'd be
a
up to you.
session, 45 minutes or something at the beginning,
Yeah,
like
we could
before
do
the
that.
meeting.
Yeah.
If that would work.
Yeah, it works for me.
Is it, that would be on a Monday, is that true?
Mhm. The 19th,
The
19th, isn't
Yeah,
it?
oh, and we have the code review meeting after.
Correct, that's the hearing for that.
So that could be a lot on your plate for that day, but
They came today. I'll run it by the group and.
if you could let us know, then we can get that scheduled in.
Okay.
Does
We can work together on that too.
council have any issue with that date on a Monday?
And then we still have a vacancy, I believe, right?
Yeah. Two,
Did Sue resign?
yes.
Oh.
I sent you that, I'm sorry.
we didn't. She wasn't there today, so I kind of assumed maybe that was the case.
So if anybody would like to be on the planning commission, yeah, or any former planners would like to rejoin the planning commission.
Okay, so is there any other questions for me?
I'm good, but thank you so much. Thanks for being here at the early meeting as well. All right, so planning commission, moving on now to economic development. Yeah.
Hi again, my name is Robert Davis. I'm a member of the Economic Development Committee, and I just have a few notes here that I'm gonna go through. After our roll call, Patty Perrin talked about how many businesses had come and gone in the Central Business District, and asked the EDC to find out whether they could find out why so many businesses closed their establishments over the last few years, just as a help factor to understand what our city needs and what it doesn't need. In addition to that, Chairman Morrison said the YDA is in the middle of revising the Beverly Cleary event to better involve the city of Yamhill. And I thought that was a good thing. The YDA also has submitted an application for the revitalization grant through Oregon Main Street, which is next month, which will be approaching Bellwether Insurance about the $25,000 revitalization grant that they're touting. And last but not least, after all that, the Economic Development Committee took a 2-hour walkabout through our city. Shelley knows, and some of us here, we walked and talked and looked at the Central Business District, business by business, looking at each business to establish which business the Economic Development Committee could ask who might be interested in being helped with the $25,000 grant for business improvement. And we also took an inventory of vacant lots, established what businesses are empty and which are no longer in business and are empty and available for use. And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
Unfinished business. First up would be water contracts discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is on the agenda because the conversation was initiated last month, and you all had, taken a look at the contracts and talked about whether there were some changes to be made. We decided to go ahead and add a joint work session with council and the water districts for April 23rd, which we've done. And I've got, I'd say, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, 6 districts rather. Some are sending, multiple people are attending that, have RSVP. There's 3 or 4 I haven't heard back from yet. So I'll find that out. So we'll have some attendance at that, but just an opportunity for you all to continue the discussion if you needed to at this particular meeting prior to that joint work session. Otherwise, just an update on the fact that meeting's been scheduled and we've got people planning on attending. That's it.
I'm comfortable with everything so far and waiting to the work session, that sort of.
Since in all city, we're all gonna be there, right?
Yes, it's council and every district president or their designee. And everyone that has requested it has, some people have reached out and said, hey, can I get a current copy of my contract? So we've sent that to them. And so it's just a matter of what each side thinks needs to be updated, and then we'll take that to the attorney.
Okay,
That was it.
great. Everybody's good with that? All right, so that brings us to the IT update.
IT update is we are officially decoupled and offboarded from IS Outsource, which is wonderful news. Dave Brooks continues to help us in the interim, and we are now in the process of trying to onboard with the city of Kaiser. Got a meeting on Friday with them to reinitiate that process. So hopefully by next council meeting, I'll have more information for you, but we're just at the beginning stages of that process right now. So that's where we are. But in the meantime, we're in good hands with Dave. He's been helping us with our needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That brings us to the park master plan update.
Parks Master Plan. So Jason and I met with our consultant, AKS, last month and did a inventory of all of the parks, and she sort of just assessed, you know, what we've got, what some of our needs are, maybe some of our concerns at each of the parks. And we've also, excuse me, established a citizen advisory committee for our parks as well. We've got a couple folks here in the room, I think, that are serving on that.
Thanks. you
And
very much.
maybe anyone. And so our first meeting is April 14th. So is that next week already? Yeah, next Monday. We'll be meeting here at 6 o'clock, and she'll walk through a slide presentation on that process. We've got about a 6-month calendar of activities that we've outlined, and we'll be going through that at that first meeting. That will involve public comment and a survey from the public on what they want to see from the parks as well. So there will be a lot of opportunity for public input in that process as well. But it should be a little shorter version of what we've gone through with the DLCD grants.
Speaking of those,
Yeah. Is that
that's next DLCD grants.
Okay. What did I have on the grant update? Other than what you just all heard? Basically, I think on that one, I just wanted to let the council know that that has been extended. We were scheduled originally to end that in June. And just with the fact that we had to have a 4th citizen advisory committee, we got approval from DLCD, and I had an extension of our grant contract that'll wrap up in July, which you heard tonight. So the schedule of events that are left for that are the May 19th hearing, public hearing at Planning Commission. Then it'll go to the June 11th City Council meeting for a hearing to pass an ordinance. And then it will be wrapped up at the July 9th City Council for the second reading and adoption, if you choose to adopt it. So that's what's left on the agenda for that. And other than a slight extension by about a month to get that adoption ready for council, everything's on budget and on track, so.
Fantastic.
Yep.
If that is that on that, we're moving on to new business.
So I had an addition on
Oh, yeah.
that with
Yes.
the FEMA grant.
Yes.
So we got word a week ago or so that our water tank, the 2.1 million gallon storage tank that we submitted a grant for, AKS did about a year or so ago, I think, we're just a couple steps short of award on that. And they had changed the fee structure to where originally it was 75% provided by FEMA, 25% required by us to match those funds. And it's a $3.5 million project. We were notified that they changed that, and now they are providing 90%, and we will come up with 10%, which makes it $350,000 for us. The Oregon matching grant that I was able to get through Business Oregon was up to $500,000, which means that if we are awarded, which it looks like we will very well be awarded this, we will pay zero for this 2.1
And
million.
those last 2 steps, I think we took care of yesterday, yes?
Yesterday, and I had a follow-up call today. There was some additional paperwork to do with our contact there, and it's in progress at the moment.
Cool.
Being sent, so. City of Yamhill should be hopefully seeing a new water tank soon.
Any minute.
I will say though, let me just add, the Business Oregon grant does take a minimum of 90 days to receive the funding on that, so it probably won't begin until next fiscal year. Dayton has more to add.
Just real quickly, so just so everybody knows, that takes us from 1 million capacity to 2.8 million capacity. As far as our storage at our reservoirs, so that's a huge jump.
And what's the timeframe? Like if this doesn't start till next fiscal year, which is only really a few months away, is it a year-long project to get those up and running, you think, or is it 6 months?
I would say more in the 6-month timeframe.
sooner.
It's fast, it's all prefabbed, so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Lafayette's brand new tank is very similar.
Mhm.
And their time frame, I think, was like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it's a quick reprieve turnaround, so.
Super exciting.
Yeah, and we'll still be all, you know, just so everybody knows, we'll still be all able to operate off the 1 million that we currently have, so there won't be nothing taken offline until that project's completed.
And does that one stay online as like extra until it collapses, or does it?
It's actually is built into part of the grant that there's actually money in the grant to remove.
To take care of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's concrete.
Because that's kind of reinforced concrete. So
It's eventually just gonna.
someday.
That's the one that looks so bad, right? The concrete
That's the
one.
one when we did the cleaning and did the diving. You could see some of the pictures that it was starting eroding away at the floor, at the base, so.
So.
Yeah.
Good that we have a new one coming, looks like that. Is that it for unfinished?
Yes.
So we're moving on to new business. And the first thing is a proclamation that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. And was there a counselor that might wanna read the president? We've all told you that we're gonna do that while you're away for a minute, Chief and I.
Okay. If that's the case.
Yes. Thanks, you,
I'm
Jared.
gonna leave before he leaves.
Well, it's just you. Good night, Charlie.
Before the city council for the city of Yamhill, Oregon, a proclamation showing the city of Yamhill, Oregon's support of Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2025. Proclamation, whereas child abuse is one of our nation's most serious public health problems, with scientific studies documenting the link between the abuse of children and a wide range of medical, emotional, psychological, and behavioral disorders. And whereas it is estimated that 1 in 4 children will suffer significant abuse before the age of 18. And in FFY 2023, over 164,000 contacts were made to the Oregon Child Abuse Hotline. Total of 45,208 received reports were assigned for CPS assessment. Of all completed CPS assessments, 7,861 were founded for abuse and involved 11,191 victims. And whereas the physical, emotional, mental, and physical impact of abuse falls on children of all ages and abilities who come from all economic, racial, and social backgrounds. And these crimes affect many more family members, friends, neighbors, and community. And whereas effective child abuse prevention efforts succeed because of partnerships created among state and local government agencies, schools, faith communities, civic and community organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, while recognizing that feeling connected to community can be a protective factor against child abuse. And whereas the city of Yamhill is dedicated to stopping child abuse, supporting survivors and their non-offending families, and working to prevent it through education, advocacy, and accessible family resources. And whereas each of us has a role to play in stopping the problem of child abuse as part of the solution, by learning how to prevent, recognize, and report child abuse, and supporting prevention, education, and empowerment programs for children and youth.
I'm not sure. Yes, yeah.
All right. Now therefore, we, the city of Yamhill, do hereby proclaim April 2025 to be Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of Yamhill, Oregon. We reaffirm Yamhill, Oregon's commitment to creating a safer, healthier, and more thriving community for our children by taking proactive steps to help prevent child abuse. These include promoting awareness, encouraging citizens to learn about the signs of child abuse and how to report suspected cases, the appropriate authorities, investing in prevention, supporting programs and initiatives that provide family resources, parenting, education, and early intervention services to at-risk families, community involvement, participating in local events, and promoting Wear Blue Fridays each week in April to show solidarity in preventing child abuse, strengthening partnerships, collaborating with schools, local businesses, healthcare providers, and community organizations to create a united front against child abuse. Empowering action, providing free resources and training for citizens on recognizing and addressing child abuse through Juliet's House and similar organizations. Community members can learn more at julietshouse.org. Together, let us protect every child in our community and ensure their well-being by fostering a culture of safety, compassion, and accountability.
Thank you, President Askey.
Thank you.
And is this the copy that you would like to have signed, Angie? A separate copy, okay. Rick, did you have anything you wanted to speak on? I know that's Juliet's House is you're very fond of and working with.
Yeah, I've been involved with Juliet's House for 28 years.
Yeah.
And a part of the MDT there, so Tim, thanks for reading that, I appreciate it. And we'll be putting the pinwheels out as we do in April every year, so we'll get those out this week, hopefully.
I want to go because I heard it was a lot of fun last time putting the pinwheels out.
It is,
Yeah.
but we always end up doing it when it's windy and raining and they blow all over the place,
So
so.
the pinwheels, it'd be more fun.
That's kind of the point behind it, but
Okay.
not really for them to blow away. Me chasing them, because that's a whole different scene. But yeah, we'll be doing that this week, and as you see, Officer Livingston put, which he made, like he did with this sign, but on the front of the building that has the big pinwheel that's up there now, so. That's up as well.
He does a great job with us as well.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you everyone for the support.
thank you.
For the support, appreciate it.
And so moving on to the special event permit for Beverly Cleary, so that would be Miss Brewer. Thank you for coming.
Brewer, do I have to give my address? 310 North Olive.
Perfect then.
Yeah, if I do. Would you like a Beverly Cleary brochure? And you can pass them out because we have to get new ones. And then you can look up BeverlyClearyDays.com is our brand new website. That's pretty fantastic.
We need one for Angie too.
Yeah. And so, oh, good. So I've got one left. These are old ones because what we tried to do with the Beverly Cleary thing from I'm with the Yamhill Downtown Association. And from the start, if you notice, we tried to include businesses and tried to promote economic development and wealth before there was one committee and meeting. But that's kind of our goal. When we came together at the town meeting for that was revitalization of Yamhill, Kara Weber and I met, and then we always want to do stuff with getting a library or books and things like that. So Beverly Cleary just kind of was the continuum that everybody jumped on. And I'm a former, well, I am an educator, so I still teach these days. So Beverly Cleary was one of my projects in college, and it's kind of fun that I landed here. And so we are promoting the history of Yamhill and our historic author of Beverly Cleary. And then through several past years. So it's been, this will be our 7th year, I think. We started with just a birthday party, and then we ended up getting this great little walking tour. And so we have 5 signs, and there's a little map here that shows it right here where people can go to find our historical signs that talk about that we were a stagecoach spot. The first stagecoach stop from the Oregon coast to Portland, and also about the Beverly Cleary house and and the library spot where was the first library was when Beverly Cleary and her mother got it, in the old bank building, which is, it was the Berkshire Hathaway building, but so it's right there. So what we've done with those 5 signs that Jason had made sure he moved into the great places and over at the park, we extended it another year into the park. And now we have, and then the following year, we brought in the RC track, which was super fun last year. And this year we kind of want to hone in on that RC track because it was really cool. We don't know how long you guys will keep it there, but it's been really fun. And it was with the Mouse and the Motorcycle theme. So this year's theme is Ramona the Brave. I brought her right here. If you haven't read Ramona the Brave, she's one of the iconic classic characters of Beverly Cleary, who she died in our 3rd year at 104, 2 days before her 105th birthday was the event. Okay, so this year's Stellar Awesome event is to tell you that we're not only having our really cool walking tour that promotes literacy and history of Yamhill, and our little signs that we're kind of getting a claim on, and we wrote a grant. We don't know if we'll get it yet, but we find out in June, and people are excited about it for Oregon tourism. So it's something that, you know, if we help build it, they might come for Oregon tourism, but there's a lot of people who really do like kids literature and everything. And a lot of people like Beverly Cleary. We have around 125 to 200 people that come each year. But this year we have a awesome 4 author and illustrator event that's going to happen here in this building right here for authors and or for wannabe writers and illustrators for kids books. And one of them is an acclaimed who's not this illustrator, but she's one of the illustrators of the Beverly Cleary books, and she's from New York, and she'll be zoomed in for a cool meeting here along with 3 other great authors that are going to talk about, you know, writing for kids. And one of them has written a book, Beverly, just like Beverly. She's been here before, but so tell people about it. It'll be a great event. This is the lineup. So this is where we've asked to use the space here. We've also asked to use, we're working on asking to use the parking space right over there to host a Larry White's Stagecoach that we saw at the meeting this summer. And then I asked him if he would bring it and have it for us for this event. So we'll pass out the brochures at the Stagecoach. We're going to highlight the new library that's one block up. Kids and families who come, they'll get raffle tickets to go visit the library, to go on the walking tour. Then we have it lined up that there'll be wagon rides with pulled by horses down by the fire department. Haven't cleared it with them yet, but I'm working on that. But that's the location where the wagons will go, and they'll go up depending on the driver, if he'll go right by Beverly Cleary's house and then into the park. But if not, he'll just pass it and then we'll leave at Beverly Cleary's house and people can walk away. And then go to the park and drop people off at the park for the RC track, which in the park, we're gonna have the prize tent where we'll have amazing things like well, I'll just say, okay, so once they get there, we're gonna have the bounce house there because there's wonderful electricity out there that we can use. Then the RC track is gonna go on. We'll have a 1 to 3 mile race with on the cool walking path that we have. And Louis Etta, who is our town representative he's been an awesome runner. So, and he goes to state every year for the last, 4 years. And so he's gonna try to get people, kids to come. I'm working with the librarian at the elementary school, and the kids who come to that, they're gonna get a free t-shirt. Any kids also who come to the event and write a story or a poem or come to our activity of our illustrators, which is free for kids and families. One of the workshops is, the other workshops are paid by writers. And then when the prizes are handed out from 1 to 3, the authors are gonna be going over there for a luncheon time to meet people and to sign and offer books to be sold in the park. We would love to eventually have, vendors or lunch in the park, but we've pushed everybody. And if you haven't seen the Stellar website, I have this new awesome lady. She's like a fairy godmother, kids literature stuff guru, and she's created it where she's thanked all of our sponsors, talked about possible donating. We're gonna have a donated button. So this could be something that could get us more acclaim in the future, and it's like a really big thing, could help get bigger spaces because we're gonna grow big for kids literature stuff. And the Beverly Group is coming. And you all want to know what that is? It's super fun. I'm sorry, I'm just like the rah-rah person. This is a special event, for the year. But the Beverly Group is my neighbor who came to me and told me, Amy, you got to go to the revitalization meeting. Her name is Beverly. And that was the first one that took me to that meeting up at the school that started all this ball rolling. She has a group and they're all the Beverlys. I don't know, there's 16 or 20 of them. And so they're all coming. They've told me they're coming. Last year we got in the Oregonian. We've been in the News Register, so we're hoping to get in the Oregonian and maybe get some other acclaim here pretty soon. But it's been really hard getting all the, I need help pushing the new website because we're a little lagging behind on getting it out because it's kind of so big. Anyway, it's gonna be fun. I hope you guys can all come or tell somebody to come or bring lots of grandkids, neighbors. It's gonna be really cool. And it's just something that's gonna celebrate our town and it celebrates our history. And then, it goes on from 10 to 3 on the Saturday, May 10th. So it's a great thing.
That all sounds super fantastic.
Can you say the website again?
BeverlyClearyDays.com. And that will have all the.
It's live right now, you said?
It is live right now, but we're in the process of still editing, but as much as possible. Yeah, and then we give out, free t-shirts. I don't know, we give out a lot of things. And then all of our grant money that we got, because we got all this to do most of this event from a private donor, it was heard word of mouth what we're doing. And I've already got contact for people who want to donate for stuff for next year, and I'm meeting with them for monies for next year. So it's just something that I think we need to keep growing and getting people to be interested into it and being excited if we get the sign grant, because that would be pretty awesome too. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question.
I forgot, we had our mayor coming to kick our C-car races off. Yes, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So, you're asking for us to approve the special permit for it, and all I'm seeing in the packet is just for the community center. Were there any other permits that would be needed? Maybe through the police department for the rides with the horses or any of that kind of thing? Is there any concerns that you have there, Chief?
No permits that are required.
Okay, fantastic.
Or concerns.
And as far as the park goes, that's,
And then just this afternoon, she did give me the special event request for the park. And that would require her to have liability insurance in the amount of $500,000. And per our code, it does say if you're going to use the park for a special event, that you need to get permission through the council for that. So I know they've had this event previously, but I just want to make sure that we're following the code on that. Both of the events that are on the agenda tonight have happened before. So beyond that, beyond the motion to approve the special event permit, I would like the staff, if the council sees fit to approve the staff approving these same events, as long as there's no major changes each year.
fantastic. Yeah, are you guys all good with that?
Is it normal to approve it before we have, like this says certificate to be, it's to be, and then I don't know what the rest of the word is. For the liability insurance, do you guys have proof of the liability insurance?
They would need to provide it before the event could happen.
Okay.
So,
But we can approve it before you have it.
and I think the purpose being that if we, for some reason, were to turn her down, it would make no sense for organization to spend money on an insurance policy.
Yeah, and we do have it. I saw it last, I just didn't, we just talked about it recently to have that paper.
So we're in effect giving her permission to do the thing, and
Okay.
then all of the things that we've sort of figured out that she will work with staff
Good.
to make sure that those are all taken care of.
So the only thing that I do need to talk about, I forgot, is parking, which I'll get with you, because we open up the gate on Saturday, because it's a Saturday instead of a weekday. And then if we can have either tape off or just, I don't know, it's kind of exciting. We could have lots of people. We could have people, you know, from Portland coming out to us, and that would be exciting. So I don't know about, we could get lots of people crossing the highway. I don't know, but they're, you know, but we still have crosswalks. And there's no run happening. The run would only be in the park. And so it would mainly just funneling people for parking places. Yeah. Yeah. So. Anyway.
So we would want to probably be looking at getting a motion to approve the special permit for the year 2025 and future events held by, we're calling it Beverly Cleary. Is it a Beverly Cleary Days?
Yes, Beverly Cleary Days, because we have, we also have like, forgot to mention, story contests and color page contests, and we work with local artists in the area to help put those on. And that opens up on April 12th, which is Beverly Cleary's birthday, and then it goes through May. The reason why we have it in May is because it had rained on us for several years in April. And so to do an outdoor event, we needed to move it to May.
The writing portion doesn't impact this, though. This is
Doesn't.
the request, okay.
Right.
So Mayor, can I, is it possible if we could have two separate motions, one to approve each event and then one to allow staff to, is that?
We could do it in two, and I have it sort of written out here as to approve the special event for 2025 and to direct staff to be able to approve all future events for Beverly Cleary Days.
Oh, okay, so you just on a case by case.
Would that be okay for you?
Event by event.
Is that- So that's what it would look like if we can have time for discussion for sure, if anybody has anything to discuss. But that motion would look like to approve the special event permit for 2025 and future events, we will be directing staff to be able to approve for Beverly Cleary Days.
Assuming no major changes to the event. Right? That's what we talked about. Yeah.
Well, that would be up to staff at that point to determine if it was a big enough change to not allow.
Yeah, but just so that understanding is for the.
Okay,
I'll make the first motion.
great.
I make a motion to approve.
Oh, and are you sure?
I'm good, it's fine, but I just can't remember it. Okay.
Special event.
I make a motion to approve the special event fee for 2025 for Beverly Cleary Day
And for,
Days.
and for future events,
and for future events
direct staff.
and direct staff to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Vote,
Featherston, I.
Asked
organized.
And I.
Karen, I.
Thank you very much for doing that.
Okay.
Mr. Dresbo, you are up next for the special event permit. And I would like to
Being mayor.
qualify Jay by saying that he has been doing this up in our park for years
Yes,
without incident, and it's a wonderful event that he puts on.
thank you. Jay Disbro, 515 East Main Street, representing the McMinnville Amateur Radio Club, here to request approval of the special events permit for Beulah Park on 27 through 29 June of this year for the Amateur Radio Field Day. This venue has been a real great for us. It's really a good fit. We really appreciate being able to use the park in the past years, and we're really looking forward to many years in the future of being able to hold the event there. Are there any questions?
Done it before.
It is McMinnville Amateur Radio Club.
Yes.
Are we doing the same type
Very
of
good.
motion? Oh, he wrote it all out for you.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the special event permit fee for 2025 and direct staff to approve all future events for McMinnville Amateur Radio Club. Can I get a second?
Ask you second.
Vote please.
Featherston, aye.
SDI.
Corrigan, aye.
Can I?
Karen, I.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jay. Should we discuss the master fee schedule?
So this was on the agenda for tonight, but I think we're gonna table this to next month because it needs some more discussion. I submitted it to our new planner and he had several recommended updates, as you can see just from my notes here. So I'm gonna compile this into a staff report to present it next month and then ask council to review the recommendations from our planner as well as the remaining fees on the schedule so that we can update it. And our SDCs, from what I can see, were not updated last year and need to be this year as well. So they might need to have a double increase. So I
Would
will
like to make these, when would we like to continue this discussion then?
next council meeting.
Next council.
Point of information, they
Yeah.
were updated last year.
Oh, they were.
Yes.
Okay,
They
good.
haven't been.
That makes it
they were due to be
easier.
updated in January and they haven't been updated yet.
The master fee schedule shows 2023. So that's where I was getting that information.
Oh, no, that was when the
Yeah.
master fee schedule was made. The
But the
SDCs are
SDCs on
on a
there.
separate schedule. SDCs and water rates are on a separate schedule.
Okay, so we might just want to update this to indicate that so that it shows that the SDCs are
And the
updated.
master fee schedule is from 2023.
This is the master fee schedule and the SDCs are on here.
Right, those two items are separate.
Okay, so maybe just point of order, let's just add that date then so that it's clear on the master fee schedule that they're updated. The SDCs are.
On just those two line items.
Mhm. Yeah.
Certainly.
So anyway, all that to say, next month we can update that or have that discussion and then council can determine which fees you want to update.
I like it.
Okay,
That moves us to the resolution R836.
yes, so
Personnel amendment. And you said there's two copies. I have both copies in front of me and I don't know which one we're going with.
does everybody have both copies in front of you?
No.
If you don't, I have copies. And I sent you both of them as well, but in case you didn't get a chance to fully read them. You got copies. Does anyone, we need them?
You need them too?
No.
Oh.
Advocating for you.
Anyone else? What did you say?
Oh, no, I was advocating for, sorry.
Anyone? Anyone?
Okay.
So basically, this is just the resolution that exists already from when you've done this before to update the policy manual. The newer version is one that, I had some discussions previously with Mayor about this and, the question came up as to whether or not this was an issue that since you now have a city administrator, do you want HR functions have moved to, city administrator purview, including personnel policy issues. And so the question was, does the city council want to continue to see, to have this come to before you to basically have a resolution to approve the updates that are made to the policy manual? And so the two different resolutions are, one is just the original one that brings it to council, council approves it. The second resolution would basically just change that to say that going forward, personnel manual updates, policy updates are just made by the city administrator. And it's not an agenda item that comes before council. So I wanted to give you, it's done differently in different cities. And most of the time, our personnel manual is essentially CISs, which is our insurance company, and so we're sort of, legally covered based on what it says because it's run through their attorneys and it covers us for any liability issues. Other cities create their own policy manuals and sometimes they go before council, sometimes they stay with the city manager, city administrator. Sometimes it's based on how severe the changes to the policy manual. So both options are before you tonight. It's council's decision, obviously, which sort of road you want to go. We can continue always bringing it before council when there's an update, or you can move it to the other HR functions which fall under city administrator. So that's the purpose for having the two in front of you.
I really feel that it needs to be brought to council just for checks and balances.
Okay.
I was gonna say the other way, because they're basically taking CIS's manual and changing names,
Well, did you say it's mostly or completely?
Again,
Did you say it just
I
follow?
said mostly, but in this case, it was completely, everything is from CIS.
So when you say policy, does that, you're talking about vacation, sick time, all of that would go to you?
Well, it's already in the policy
Right,
manual.
right.
And it's just if we make changes, it comes before council. Currently, that's how it's done.
Right,
But
but if it just goes to you, then you would make,
It's-
and that's where it would stay.
Right. It would go to your city administrator / HR department.
But we don't have an HR department, so that's where I feel like
I am your HR department.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you're not.
and if she bumps everybody's comp banks way high or
Nobody knows about it.
adds extra sick leave or something like that, or an extra holiday to people,
Yeah.
that's a financial thing that we really should have a say in.
Absolutely.
So I was actually thinking about that based on what Kim had said just a moment ago. And I think an easy way to solve that would be to look at it through the lens of our city administrator would still be doing all the updates to it. And they could simply present any updates and changes to council, or
For
we just do
approval.
a simple approval.
Which is
If
how,
that makes sense.
which is how it's been done before.
Yeah.
It's basically keeping it as is. Because I think in the past, I don't know who brought it before council, but we past interim administrators.
I think there was multiple ways that would happen before based on who was
Okay,
currently wearing the hat of.
Lori, and then part of that with Terry that would bring things before council.
So you would just basically bring it to council and say, these are the updates.
These are the updates.
yeah.
And then I did just for a few things as well. So
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said, Greg.
there were a few things that I did as well that I brought before.
Yeah, so this
So it's just
particular
kind of-
policy update has several updates because it was started back in April and those are indicated on the front page. And then there was a few sort of later additions that you can see by the date when they were added. The holidays were revised because we added 2 holidays per request. The PERS was updated and the political activity, which is just, again, from CIS's language that was directly taken over. All of this was from CIS. So I think some of these that were done in April were done because they just had been updated. CIS had updated them, so then we updated our version.
Okay. So, and as you just to reiterate, 100% of the updates were CIS recommended and then approved. Does anybody want to go into detail on any of the things that were updated or changed with the new holiday structure or the papers? Okay.
Well, I have a concern with like the holidays, for instance. And I have to use myself as an example because I was a state employee for 15 years. We did not have 13 holidays. We did not have birthdays off. 10 holidays, and that was it. 10 paid holidays a year.
And I do understand that because I have 0 holidays with my job and I actually I'm required to work all of them. So I completely understand where you're coming from. It's kind of sounds cushy. However, do I understand it correctly that the only holidays that are celebrated by City Hall are federal holidays?
Well, with the exception of the birthday and the floating holiday.
Yes,
Mhm.
which is, yeah.
But
We weren't observing all federal holidays at the city of Yamhill.
I'm not talking just, but these are not just federal holidays, these are state and federal, because Martin Luther King Day,
It's a federal holiday.
is it really? Okay,
So is Juneteenth.
but see, and that's where,
Those have been added probably since, those are relatively new. The Juneteenth is.
Yeah.
I think it's like
Okay, but
3 years.
3 years old, and Martin Luther King, I believe, was added in. It goes back sometime. But
I guess just my only concern with it is with the budget issue that is looming, that adding more paid holidays is, like I say, it's a concern.
can I address that?
Sure.
So the one thing I will add to that is, we do have to consider issues of retention.
I
We
understand.
don't have a lot of, options when it comes to salary. So we have to look at other ways to encourage and promote our employees and encourage retention. And that's one of the ways that we can do that, because while, yes, it closes the office, the work still gets done. It's just on the employee then to get it work that much harder.
I understand.
So there
that.
really isn't an impact to the budget that way. And it is a way for us to recognize and, promote retention and recognize employees without adding to our budget costs.
And in addition to that, it would also be the standard operating practice of, I would think, every city in the state of Oregon.
Yeah, I think we're one of the few that, if any, that don't recognize all.
Right. I think federal holidays, just straight across the board, should be recognized, is my opinion.
Absolutely, that's fair.
Right, well, and if you start picking and choosing your federal holiday, then I think that opens you up to situations that could be unfavorable for council. If that makes any sense, considering the two holidays were Martin Luther King Day and Juneteenth that were not celebrated.
Yeah, but the
So-
Juneteenth thing, I don't get as anyway, but that's irrelevant.
Correct, but that's a federal decision, that's not a
Yeah.
city decision, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, do I understand that the consensus kind of is at this point that we would love for Shelley to, or excuse me, our city administrator to work with CIS to put forward any new changes, but then we would just like a brief description at council for just a double check.
Yes.
That being said, so
So
they're both
the same,
listed
yeah.
with the same resolution.
Numbers,
just a
just
little
depending on which way
different.
you guys went. So just adopt the one and we'll just discard the other.
Okay, so that, and then it says, this one says it's superseding our 739.
Which is your previous version of this policy manual.
Okay. So are we all in agreement that it is this that we are approving?
The one that does not say city administrator on the title. It's the original language.
Okay,
The one that only has 2 sections, not 3.
Yes.
right. So who would like to make a motion?
I have a point of order, Mayor.
This wouldn't be a time for public comment, unfortunately.
It's not a public comment. It's a point of order.
So I believe, if somebody could check Robert's rules on this for me, but I believe point of order is reserved for those on council. So unfortunately, at this time, I can't, we can't start that out. This is a matter before council right now. I'd be happy to entertain any. I think what I would like to do is complete our business here, and then maybe we can have a brief moment for a second public comment at the end of the meeting. To accommodate.
That won't help. Thank you.
Okay, then we won't do that. All right, so would anybody like to make a motion on resolution R 836, the one that does not list the word city administrator in its title?
I make a motion that we approve resolution R 836, the one that does not have city administrator in the title of the draft.
Does that work?
Just read the title of
Do
that.
you want me to read the title? Okay. Resolution R 836, a resolution by the City Council of Yamhill, Oregon, superseding resolution R 739, adopting an updated version of the Yamhill policy personnel policy.
I second the motion.
We have a vote, please.
Featherston, aye.
Eskia,
Corrigan, aye.
Kent, I.
Karen, I.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We're gonna move to department report, city administrator report. Good.
So this is the noteworthy events from March 2025. Starting with the police department, Chief Graven had an emergency meeting, or excuse me, a meeting with the county emergency management folks regarding emergency management for City of Yamhill. Handled a $100 bill call at TNE and conducted a critical incident tabletop exercise with the school district, also emergency management planning, and did the 2025 evidence documents audit and purge / disposal. And then attended a Juliet House meeting in preparation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, which we heard about tonight. Corporal Van Cleve handled an animal nuisance call on Elm Street, a suspicious mail going through mailboxes on 3rd and Balm Streets. Assisted the county sheriff with missing twins on Highway 47. And assisted Sheridan with a fire and cardiac arrest call. When I have a typo there. So, and then Officer Miller responded to an injury rollover crash on 47 and Pecola, sorry. Warning to a youth on a quad without a helmet. Responded to a truck fire on Pike Road. A call about a suspicious person at McBride Cemetery. The person was in a parked vehicle, passed out. And assisted with a medical call on East 3rd. A child crashed his bike, broke both of his wrists and possibly his jaw. Have not heard, unfortunately, on either of those cases with kids, how they turned out, but hopefully well. Our school resource officer, Livingston, did his regular traffic patrols and speed enforcement and ongoing work at Yamhill Carlton schools. And enjoyed a week off with spring break for the kids last month, and then also used his drone as backup for the Yamhill County Sheriff's Office in search of a suspect. And these are the police statistics for last month. The number of calls they got was 257, number of case reports 12, number of arrests 4, municipal court citations 40, number of warnings 194. Circuit court citations 26, calls for service 65, and officer initiated contacts 183. And then you can see the hours worked by the officers and miles written. Public Works. The water treatment plant was mostly maintenance last month. They did some maintenance checks at the plant, tightened the bolts, adjusted valves and gaskets. And the intake remains at 400 gallons per minute and average distribution is about 216. Wastewater inflow is 589,000 gallons per day and outflow about 401,000 gallons per day. In collections, they're working on a CIP project at the disinfection building, and the next CIP project that's been identified is Ellie's Lift, which has failing efficiency and inflow and infiltration issues. At water distribution, they repaired 2 service lines, added 2 new service lines, completed the work at 3rd and Olive Street to Highway 47, and added 347 feet of pipe, new fire hydrant, and valves at North Hemlock. And these are some pictures of North Hemlock water projection or water distribution project. The next slide is some more photos from that project. And the next slide is that project as well. But obviously it's also a street project, so it's listed. And then in the Parks Department, Jason met with Cycle Yamhill County regarding the install of the kiosk. And then they just did some ongoing operations and maintenance of the parks preparing for swimming. inside City Hall, in the administration department, our, accounting manager did the ongoing budget preparation for fiscal year 25-26. They did multiple, I think, Andrew and Mary, but all three staff do the ongoing courtesy calls for the late water bills.
Except I was not there this month.
But normally it's all the staff handles that, courtesy calls for folks with late water bills. And then, the new, texting option with our, is it our texting option, I think, that does that, is allowing the text notices that go out to folks with late water bills is increasing payment. So they were able to collect 35,000 of the 90-day past due water bills. And with the new billing system that just went out, there's some current outstanding collections are at 35,000 as well, which they're working on collecting now. And the city recorder processed 4 BCA's, building compliance applications, and there are 14 lots left at Park Meadows. She also researched cost-saving options for transcription software, uploaded 21 postings to the city website, and participated in the event planning for National Night Out. And this next slide is a little fun video for that. Date and time to come, but watch for this little kitty video to get more details on the Tippecop option event for National Night Out to raise money for that. In the planning department, we held our final citizen advisory committee March 31st, and the next step is the joint work session with council, which was tonight. And then the planning commission. Oh, and then the hearing at planning commission and the hearing for council, which we've discussed previously tonight. We also applied for a new transportation grant management application for transportation system plan. So that is in the pre-submittal process right now. Held a work session in March with the planning commission to discuss council goals. And it doesn't sound like we're gonna have an April planning commission meeting, but the May one will be that joint work session with council and EDC to get some goals for them to work on for council. And then the master plan inventory was done with the consultant, and we mapped out a timeline for the project with the new citizen advisory committee meeting next Monday. And city council just got regular ongoing meetings with Mayor Corrigan, met with Councilor Askey regarding some items, including historical Yamhill documents, and in an effort to meet one of the goals that council identified at the retreat. In March, we held the council retreat and identified goals for the first 4 priorities. And then Mayor Corrigan and I attended the Mid-Willamette Valley Awards dinner. And this next picture is a picture of that night. We received an award. I'm in the back, but Mayor is behind the women at the microphone, so you can't see either of us, but
I stood there on purpose.
This award on the wall, for those that aren't aware, is the award that City of Yamhill was a part of. All the cities that are represented on the stage here tonight were a part of this, and it had to do with that urban form website that I showed you 2 meetings ago. For Yamhill County is the first county in America, we think, that has that urban form software ability for us. So we were kind of the leading county to do that.
Has that gone live yet?
It is live. It's not fully updated and accurate yet, but I've used it a couple times.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then these are just some pictures from the council retreat. Community engagement, I met with Congresswoman Salinas' office with Mayor, discussing congressional funding options. Met with all the city managers in Yamhill County. Were having meetings regarding options for regional water solutions, and submitted a grant through the COG to submit for funds to see if we can draw up plans of our regional water system, like the piping, what would that look like for all of the cities in Yamhill County to be connected in a regional water system? So we'll find out if we get some funding for that. And then emergency planning meeting with the county as well, the regular administrators meeting with the COG, and an all hands meeting with Yamhill Carlton, which is a quarterly meeting that myself, the mayor, Public Works, and our police chief attend with our state senator and representative. And then upcoming events, we've discussed these, the next April 14th is the first park CAC, April 15th is our first budget meeting, April 21st was our planning commission, sounds like we don't have one this month. April 22nd is our second budget meeting, April 23rd is the joint work session with council and the water districts. May 14th is the budget hearing, May 19th is the planning commission hearing on DLC grants, and now the work session with council. And June 11th is the city council hearing on the DLC grants. We've got a lot happening. Wow.
This is the easy part. Just wait.
That's it. That's it. Did you say just wait?
Just wait. This is, yeah, we're just starting out slow.
I don't think I can go any faster.
All right. So with the police department, did you have anything?
You're not saying any questions about anything? Perfect. The Brightside Electric was out today and finishing up the project for the cameras here at City Hall. They're just waiting for that magic wand thing for the firewall.
There was also, and I don't know what our system looks like or how it's set up. And it's probably none of my business, but there was some, one of the local business owners asked if a city camera could be installed on their property as well. So just bring that to your attention, and the Yamhill Bar and Grill folks.
I actually had a question about that. Was asked yesterday if the cameras around the city are ones that are like online that people can sort of log in and see activity happening in.
No, that's not the intent behind it. They're not like a traffic cam.
Okay.
So no, they're not public accessible.
That's what I
It's
thought, and
their
that's what I think we said, but I wasn't 100% sure on
Yeah, that, especially if anything's on 47, that would be a whole ODOT conversation and permitting.
it. They were thinking when they travel, they like to sort of see what's going on in the community.
Those cameras are useful, I think, but that's not.
I agree,
Yeah.
but I
That's not
think
what those
those are
are.
not what these are.
I think these folks were most interested in having Main and Olive, that intersection there that can be problematic. They offered.
I agree that would be a good location, but the police department budget contribution is at limit for that, so it would be something that for future that would have to be through the city budget, and
Maybe they'd like to donate one.
working with Public Works to see get their input as well. Please.
Okay.
But thanks, I appreciate the input.
Sure.
I have a comment in regards to that, cameras. Aren't those available? They're just a small photo, and mainly it's for speeding. But couldn't those be utilized for stopping also, if there's a stop sign? You know, like a photo radar camera?
So those aren't these cameras either.
No, I know they're
Yeah.
not, but I read somewhere that they are available. I'm gonna have to look at it again, find out where because I kept something on that it's available for smaller cities. And I
I've
was.
inquired about that. It's the photo radar system, not necessarily just for intersections for traffic control device, but also just for streets that have specifically for speeding. And they even have now.
Specific for speeding,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be utilized for anything else.
Well, the intent behind those is that, but that's because I've looked in that for grants, and the city would not be able to afford, at least the police department wouldn't have been able to afford the match that's required, because there's outside vendors that are involved with that. And also the outside vendors that would be doing the citations that would be issued and so forth, the e-tickets as they call them.
The city still has to pay for the cameras?
yeah, we would
I always
be
thought.
purchasing them and then paying a
I always
vendor
thought
to
you were kind of-
manage the whole
yeah.
system and so it's, for us, it's not prudent or cost effective for what would be required for a match for it, at least any time that I've checked into it, which hasn't been recently.
Do you have anything else, Chief?
That is all, thank you.
Jason, did you have anything for Public Works to add?
Yeah, first off, I just want to thank you for the Cove Orchard deal and kind of leading with your heart there.
Dude,
And
honestly,
taking-
thank you guys.
You know,
You
taking
did the
that role,
work.
honestly, taking that role and just kind of, like I said, I mean, leading with your heart was kind of a prime example of your leadership and, you know, we appreciate it, you know, and I'm sure the Cove Orchard residents do also. No, I think that's just something to kind of keep it fresh in mind. I know infrastructure gets talked about quite a bit. And, you know, sometimes it's almost too much, but, you know, when you have incidences and, you know, 65 plus households or not residents out of water and you have your community kind of rally around them, I mean, that it's unacceptable. I mean, it's one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on at Public Works, and just to see the support from the mayor, council, you know, and just staff in general was kind of a beautiful thing, kind of, and how that all worked in motion. But yeah, you know, with that said, that's why it's so important, you know, that we reach the point where we start to get that second source. I mean, we all kind of had a small sample size of how detrimental that could be to a city of our size, you know, and not having an outside source to help us in that capacity, you know, the capacity that we would need to, you know, stay kind of in survival mode. So, no, there again, like I just wanted to say, like Shay, you did a wonderful job. And I really appreciate you, and I kind of appreciate just the way you led that. So that's all I had to say. Other than that, that's all I had. So.
Well, it's gonna blend in well, because the next thing up is the mayor's report. That was the first thing I was gonna talk about. But the one question I had was Jeremy Ken, it works with which agency?
Tualatin Valley Water District.
So Tualatin Valley Water District, we had help from potential help offered from Hillsborough, Washington County, City of Yamhill County. This is in regards to the water emergency that they had in Cove Orchard. And as we became involved and we actually activated, the city was able to activate Yamhill County Emergency Management for the Cove Orchard Water District. And Brian Young was out and did a great job. They had water out there within, I think it was 8 hours of the phone call. And that was because it was an overnight issue. So water was made available the next day. Jason and his crew immediately opened the Public Works, so everybody could come from the Cove Orchard District and get water in buckets and barrels, and I think RVs showed up and whatever they needed to get water back out to them. Jason, actually, he's thanking me, and all I did was call him and ask for help, and then he did all the work, so thanks for that, though. But he and his crew actually worked with, I assume ODOT got a traffic control plan together at, I think it was 8:30, 9 o'clock on a Sunday. Got that approved overnight and started work at 7:30 in the morning the next morning. At the time that went into place, Sunday evening, Cove Orchard was estimating up to 3 weeks without water, and they had water turned on by 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. So.
Yeah.
So that goes to you, bud. And
I
you're
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Broken.
Yeah, it was just a broken water line that they thought was abandoned.
And I also would like to mention Oregon Environmental,
Yep.
which is a local company. They're just off of Yamhill Road, just outside of town. But again, on a Sunday night, they activated their entire crew. And without talking about bills or payment or anything else, and as I understand, they're still haven't even sent a bill yet for these guys. Trying to do it the cheapest way they can, understanding that their resources are limited. So big shout out to those guys too, but it was cool how the whole community pulled together. And the beautiful part was there wasn't one soul. Cause you never get this, you know, in city government, no good deed goes unpunished. However, nobody said a word negative about it. It was positive, save one or two keyboard warriors, but I won't go down that road.
Just one last thing, Shay, if I may, this is for Pam. You might want to put out there the Orwin number. That's an emergency number that all cities, basically Public Works, would rally around to help any city in need for water or any other infrastructure needs that they might have, so.
So what I understand about the Orwin though is you actually have to be a member. And I believe that.
I mean, if you reached out to say the city of Yamhill, Hillsborough, so on and so forth, I mean, they can put that alert out to get the help and the extra help they needed, so. But I think we could rally around that, but.
Yeah, but no, that was all great the way that worked out. So thanks everybody for that helped out and everybody who was involved. In addition, I wanted to mention too about our friend JR who spoke about the baseball and softball field being repaired. It's a lot of that infrastructure's there. The beauty of it is, and having conversation with him, and this will come up in the Parks Master Plan. And because I don't believe the baseball and softball fields were part of that. The Parks Master Plan, would you say estimate or the plan that AKS came up with? That may even end up being a little subcommittee or something of that. So if anybody wanted to take part in that, I think that something would be great that we could do inside of budgetary restraints through volunteer programs to get a field ready to go for our little kids to play on. And as it develops, and speaking with JR about some of the other cities that he works with, without not just baseball, young people baseball, like we said, I think 3rd to 5th grade.
Right.
And even younger, but then also in the girls softball, those fields are the same size, the difference being the mounds. That has the potential to bring in like very large amounts of money to the city. And the part of the city that doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to expand urban growth, but they all go home. At the end of the day, they just go home. They stop and they leave their money. It's perfect. So that would be something I would really like people to, as that starts coming up, if you see that, please become involved. And then the other thing I just wanted to bring up really quickly in regards to public comment, we are doing everything that we can to address public comments at the beginning and then to answer the questions from the meeting before. Again, a lot of times we can't answer those questions at the exact moment for legal reason, HIPAA reasons, HR reasons, or that we might be wrong. But we do take the time to double check. Staff does an amazing job looking up that stuff. City administrator helps with all of that as well. But we discourage outbursts outside of the public comment time. So for anybody that was upset by that, I apologize. We just have to run the meeting in a specific manner. I think that's all I have. So we would be moving to council report.
I have a comment or question. Tim has been working on or started work on a quarterly, monthly, not sure what, newspaper or flyer or whatever you want to call it. Newsletter. Okay, so what I would like to do is talk to the school, the high school, for their journalism class, because the way I understand it, they have one, and see if they could put out even a quarterly newsletter that could involve things that are going on with the school, things that are going on in the city, whatever information, whether it be brought to them, they go find it, whatever the case may be. But in order for that to happen, council has to approve it to be able to speak with administration over there. I did talk with the vice principal, and he said he would be more than willing to help the conversation with, like I say, the administration. And I know the vice principal, I've talked to him multiple different times, so I would love to be able to do that, see if
That's a
they
great
can.
I think it would be cool to have kids get involved, city government at any level. So
Yeah.
to me, does anybody have any issue with her doing a little research into that? I think that's fine.
And then Tim doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's better
Better than
than
you
whatever.
Cool, yeah, so unless,
I can remember that.
yeah, I think that would be wonderful. You'd look into that for us, Patty.
And see what, you know, whether it be quarterly, monthly, whatever, at least quarterly, but if they want to do it monthly, I think, you know, that'd be great too.
Cool. Anybody else?
I'll do it monthly in December then.
Right.
Workers' comp volunteer hours report. Oh, sorry. Somebody say something? No. Workers' comp volunteer hours report.
It's just a reminder every month for council.
Put that in there.
Hours.
I need to do that really badly. Moving on, information and announcements. Do you want to do that? I'll read the first one because I have a question about it's the OGEC, the OGEC SEI filing deadline for April 15th. There are fines for not filing. I do not remember my security password and the question. This is the important part. The security question they ask you, and there's two. One is apple, one is tree. Neither of those are questions, those are words. Does anybody run into that or have a way of around that?
What?
No idea.
Doesn't it have you,
Yeah, you says, have you forgotten your password? And you click yes, and
Oh.
it says, your security question is apple. All right, so I will be calling them if anybody else runs into that.
So Shay, when I called, she answered on the first ring, so I mean, maybe they'll answer right away for you.
They're wonderful. Was it Ruby?
No, I don't think her name was Ruby.
I think it's Ruth. It's
That
Ruth.
might have been
Could have
it.
been.
Ruth is wonderful. She does answer right away. So, okay, that's all I had on that, was I just,
I mean, every other announcement is just the meetings that we've already discussed. a
Already
couple
discussed.
times, So. it's
well,
just-
fantastic. After a double long meeting with a short intermission, I would love it if somebody would give me a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second, I second. You know those songs.
Hi, thank you.